This is unimaginable. Straight up. There are not that many buildings in the area, bro. It is out in a field. Like, how are they supposed to do Secret Service stuff inside of cities? Which they do all the time, by the way. But they couldn't protect the former president out in the middle of a Pennsylvania field. The shooter being a registered Republican isn't the own the Dems think it is law. No, I think it's the reason. First of all, I disagree with you completely. And we'll cover the background of the shooter in a second. But I must tell you, I disagree with you. It absolutely is a major own. Are you kidding me? If that is the case, it literally completely destroys like 90% of the narratives that were flying around about how, like, you know, this is the work of like gay Antifa. But we don't know. It still could be. Can I just admit something? Maybe people will clip this because there's a lot of haters around waiting for the opportunity to like go crazy over any misstep, anything I say right now. But I gotta admit something. And I think a lot of other people probably also felt this. But there was a moment when this happened yesterday when in my mind, like, maybe it's to think this, but I literally was just like, I really hope he's not like some marginalized identity. Like, I hope the shooter is not like Muslim. I hope the shooter is not Hispanic. I hope the shooter is not an undocumented immigrant. I really, really, really hope. I hope the shooter's not trans, black. Like, in my mind, I was running like, I literally was. My first thing wasn't like, I'll admit, my first thing wasn't because I don't really care about Donald Trump. Like, you know, perhaps I'm being a little too brutally honest, but my immediate reaction was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, the storm that will happen, like they would do pogroms, dude. Like, no matter who it was, if it was anyone but like a cis white dude, okay, if it was anyone but a cis white guy, there would literally be pogroms, okay? Like mass annihilation events. Like the amount of hate crimes that would happen in America would perhaps, I feel like it would make like the Jim Crow South look tame in comparison because these guys are so goddamn gung-ho. Like, they are so insane. They want to legislate the concentration camps at this point. So it's like they still might take matters in their own hands, but like I straight up was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I really, really, really hope, the shooter was not like some dude from any kind of like classic Republican villain category. Yeah, I guess I wasn't the only one. Please be an apolitical schizo white cishet man. Please be an apolitical schizo white cishet man. Yeah, this is like, I think virtually everyone took a collective sigh of relief when they saw the shooter's footage of his like mouth hanging off. I was keeping my cool the whole time. Like, I wasn't trying to let you in on it, but I was in my asshole was puckered the entire time. I was just like, ha, ha, ha. We don't know who the shooter is, please. We don't know. Please stop. It's like, yeah, because it's like I mentioned it. They ID'd the shooter as a cishet white male. Like, and I know a lot of people will say like, oh, this is anti-white racism or whatever. No, man, this is pure defense. Okay, because every single person knows exactly what would have happened if the shooter was like, you know, Chinese in the way that the New York Post immediately reported on it, okay? Because nobody, and I mean nobody, will go, oh, that's a white guy, that means all white people are at fault. But if it was anyone but a white guy, okay? If it was anyone but a white dude, the entire story would be like, are all trans people actually out to kill the president? We should probably preemptively lock them in jail. Like, that's literally what happens. That's what happens when it is a white guy. That's what literally happened, even though we didn't know who the shooter was. Donald Trump hadn't even been escorted to the goddamn hospital yet, and mother were chirping about how this is like a gay Ukrainian Chinese Hamas official. There was a dude on Fox News who said this has to be the work of college protesters, pro-Palestinian college protesters. And it's like, why would they kill Trump? Trump is not the president right now. He's not the one currently doing the genocide. Why would anybody do that? There are mother Dearborn saying they might vote for Trump over Biden, okay? Which is stupid and it's silly, okay? But still, Like, that's the attitude that people have right now at this point. And people were like rushing. Another Hasanabi lock. I'm shocked that they didn't have every tree covered. I am not exactly the most tactical minded person, right? But the fact that this is like, the fact that they didn't have people on top of this right here is shocking, okay? Like actual snipers on this rooftop, like actual counter snipers on this rooftop. And the fact that they only had it here is crazy. It is in like a broad, out in the open field. I don't think you have to be the most like, I'm not one of those guys who's like, yeah, dude, if it was me, I would have run a perimeter check every 15 minutes. Like, you know, when I was touring in Vietnam and then also in Korea and also in the Korengal Valley, you know, I learned a lot about my experience. I'm not like one of those like tactical gung-ho guys. I'm just simply saying it's wild that I, as an average person who is not all that smart, can look at the situation and go, how the is there not someone on this roof that is like Secret Service or law enforcement? Like the closest building, dude? What? The roof is inaccessible. He got up there with a ladder though. Oh, the roof is inaccessible. Oh, okay. Good enough then, I guess. What are you talking about? Secret Service has been defunded. Yeah, it was so inaccessible that some pasty dip was able to access it. That's how inaccessible it was, that he was able to very easily access it. Like, what do you mean, man? Yeah, guys, who would have thought that the shooter would have access to the most dangerous weapon of all, a ladder? Who could have accounted for this? Let's hear what Brandon had to say. Biden orders an independent review of security of the Trump rally.
Focus Donald Trump. I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering. And we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired. And he lost his life. God love him. We're also praying for the full recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change.
Violence is only acceptable if it's Palestinian children being slaughtered with American weapons, Jack. Why? We don't do that around these parts. It's like, bro, have you seen the country that you're the president of? There is literally there are new fresh hells every goddamn weekend. 4th of July weekend, there was like 100 people that were shot and killed. Okay. Just yesterday, while this was happening in Alabama, there was a nightclub shooting where like 8 people died, I think. I don't even know. And then right before that, there was another shooting in Birmingham, Alabama, possibly related, I'm not entirely certain, of a family that was shot in their car, the child in the back seat. We are an unimaginably violent country. Okay. The notion that like this doesn't happen here is just silly. It's laughable. It's false. Okay. Violence is our mother national pastime. 4 died, 9 injured at a nightclub. There's so much violence that occurs. There's so many mass shootings that occur. There's so much gun violence that happens on a daily basis in this country that it like it doesn't even meet. It doesn't even actually like get people curious or angry anymore. It doesn't even like post Sandy Hook. It doesn't even pass the test of like, oh, we should maybe do something about this. Look at Uvalde. Look, you know, it's just nothing. Nothing came of that. Some of the cops got fired, but that's it. Not even all of them. How is that Biden's fault? I didn't say it was Biden's fault. I just said it's laughable for an American president to be like, oh, this kind of stuff doesn't happen. We do an unimaginable amount of violence in around the world. We do an unimaginable amount of violence all around the world, and we have an unimaginable amount of violence here in the United States of America domestically. Okay, it is a great lie that we tell ourselves and others that the United States of America is this prosperous nation, is the best nation on the planet. And by many metrics, whether it be the GDP, whether it be how wealthy we are as a nation, is correct. We are a very prosperous nation for the select few. But ultimately, we are a third world country with a Gucci belt. Okay, there are certain parts of this country that have, like, you know, Rwanda levels of violence occurring on a daily basis. And it's and when you think about like why that kind of violence is happening in Rwanda, it's like mostly the consequences of being victims to colonial violence and the destabilization that comes from that. So we're like contributing to the internal violence that is happening in so many of the third world countries, while also simultaneously having that level of violence here in the United States of America. Anyway, but let's continue.
But we're gonna not lose sight of the fact who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the FBI, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service, my Homeland Security Advisor, the National Security Advisor, and we're going to continue to be briefed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information.
He said it, Homeless Security. He has a jobs, Brandon's jobs program. He's putting homeless people to work, securing the president.
About the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Look, as this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. And I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened. And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length.
Bro is trying to clear his name right now. Awfully suspicious. Awfully suspicious, Mr. President. No. I mean, come on. This isn't the clown show that you would expect from like a Republican administration. If this happened under Donald Trump, he would probably say some of the right things and then immediately double down with all of the wrong things. And this is not even like a hypothetical. Things like this have happened in the past. And Donald Trump's reaction has been, you know, pretty wild. When David DePappy went in and tried to like assassinate Nancy Pelosi, and then Nancy Pelosi wasn't home, so we ended up hammering the head of Paul Pelosi. They literally were making jokes. Okay, they were cracking jokes. They were like, how's your husband doing? You know, that type of shit. So like, you know, Republicans are almost always violent in their rhetoric. Even the normie Republicans are. And Donald Trump certainly is not even a normie Republican. He is incredibly unhinged. But the expectation from liberals in a situation like this is always going to be that they're like the adults in the room, right?
Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, when you spoke to President Trump yesterday, what did you tell him and what did he tell you, sir? Mr. President, shifting our campaign strategy, Mr.
Bro, this dude cannot walk. He's got the T-Rex arms, dude. What is happening? What is going on, man? He is just zombie walking out of there with his arms like locked in. Oh, yeah.
Do you regret?
You just heard from President Biden speaking there at the White House after receiving a briefing from his top national security officials. You saw Vice President Harris, Attorney General Merrick Garland at his sides as he was talking about the briefing that they just had in the Situation Room. First, he talked about the conversation that he had with former President Donald Trump last night. He said he was genuinely glad for his safety and the fact that he did survive this assassination attempt. And the president also offered his condolences to the family of Corey Comparator. That is the man who was killed attending.
Honestly, I'm putting my Democratic Party operative hat on for a moment and saying that if I'm a Democratic Party operative, my communication on the matter is like gun violence of this sort is completely unacceptable, and that is why we must push for gun control legislation. Like, and that's what I did in my 4 years of running for president. I passed one of the most comprehensive bipartisan gun control bills, blah, blah, blah. And I want to do even more than that. That's what I would do. And then let the Republicans cry about how much of a political opportunist you are, but who gives a shit? Ultimately, it is the truth. That is correct. That is what you should be doing. That is a big part of the reason. The mother shooter literally went and got the gun legally. It's not like we are so far removed from the actual systemic contributions to this kind of unprecedented gun violence that we don't even talk about that anymore. And it's very frustrating to me. You know, don't cry about Trump being a goddamn martyr over and over again and like normalize him when half of your narrative is that he is Hitler, he is Mango Mussolini. You know, it's just not good politics, and Republicans would not do that. Okay, Republicans always do great politics. Okay, they're demons overall, their policies are awful, but they do great politics. They never let a crisis go to waste. Democrats, on the other hand, immediately have to be like the reasonable statesman in a country where most people's brains are just completely warped at this point. Okay.
Ending that Trump rally, he is a father of 2 daughters, and his wife talked about how he dove to protect them and shield them as the chaos was breaking out at that rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The president also made some news there as he said that he is taking several steps here in the light of what happened. He said, one, that they already talked about the increased protection that is afforded to Donald Trump, not just because he is the former president of the United States, but also given he is the presumptive Republican nominee. President Biden said that will stay in place. He also said that he has directed the Secret Service to review all of the security measures for what is happening where I'm sitting right now at the Republican convention, this site here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Already heightened security here, but the president says he's directed the Secret Service to review those measures and to make sure they are up to par. Lastly, and this may be the most important, is he is telling them and directing them to conduct an independent review of the security and the measures that were taken leading up to that rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, as there are major questions coming about how someone could have gotten this close to the former president of the United States, where he was able to fire shots in his direction. It's not clear who is going to be conducting that independent investigation, but those are the questions we have right now. I have MJ Lee at the White House. Mark Preston is here with me in Milwaukee. MJ, let me start with you and what President Biden was announcing. I mean, because that was news there, and saying that there is going to be an independent review that he is scheduling with the Secret Service of how those security measures were put in place for that rally in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Caitlin, you know, these remarks that we just heard from the Roosevelt Room from President Biden really struck me as the president wanting to send a message to the nation that he very much understands from his position here at the White House the seriousness and the gravity of the situation, and really the shock that the nation has gone through ever since the events unfolded yesterday. And I say that because these remarks were incredibly brief, even though we know that he was just coming out of a lengthy briefing by all law enforcement agencies in the Situation Room. He actually didn't present a lot of details, didn't go into details at all, really, other than...
We are not cooked. The Democrats are. Democrats are horrible at politics. It's embarrassing. No, they are. A registered Republican who donated $15 to Act Blue. What have you uncovered about this guy so far? We're going to talk about that. Hold on. We're going to talk about that. Trump was spiritual about shooting, says person who spoke to former president. Oh my God. Oh my God. I joked about this. Oh my God. I'm going to stop memeing about shit. I'm going to stop memeing about shit, dude. It's nuts. I'm just going to stop making jokes altogether. No more jokes, okay? No more jokes. What is happening? Bro, why can't I meme about healthcare? Trump is going to pass healthcare. He's going to pass gun reform. Ha ha ha. That's a joke. Please. Meme more about free healthcare. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what's holding back. That's what's holding us back, is that I'm just not joking about free healthcare enough. Yeah, I saw this. His former classmates spoke about the gunman. We have some background info on the former gunman. We have police incompetence that we're going to get to. Let's finish these details and then we'll get to that.
He is committed to the federal agencies conducting a full and swift investigation. And he also at one point emphasized, and this I thought was really noteworthy, that there is nothing that they know right now, nothing he can share right now on the motives of the would-be assassin. And he said, quote, "Don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliation." That to me struck me as the president really wanting to temper everyone's rhetoric around the events of yesterday and temper the speculation that, of course, has just been so rampant on social media and elsewhere. He understands the situation and the moment that we are in. And I think this was a president that wanted to just get out of the cameras one more time to say there is a full investigation that is ongoing, even if he couldn't share a lot of the details. And certainly this sounds like a situation where there are no big conclusions yet. He made clear that the investigation is unfolding and that he is going to basically stay on top of things. I think the fact that you pointed this out yourself, Caitlin, that he is talking about an independent investigation into the role of the U.S. Secret Service. That is so important because those are some of the biggest questions coming out of yesterday. Again, as we were.
Dude, it's just the Secret Service dropped it. Okay. Big bag dropper Secret Service. I am shocked. Maybe I have seen too many movies that actually caused me to also think that the police are like, or not the police, but like at least the Secret Service is more competent. This is unimaginable. Straight up. Like, there are not that many buildings in the area, bro. It is out in a field. Like, how are they supposed to do Secret Service stuff inside of cities? Which they do all the time, by the way. Presidents famously will do that walk, that, you know, the Bashar al-Assad walk, where they'll go out and like walk in DC after they win the election with like massive crowds and how are they able to protect the president in a situation like that, but they couldn't protect the former president out in the middle of a Pennsylvania field? Like, that doesn't make any sense. To be fair, DC is kind of home turf. No, it doesn't matter. Former presidents already get like big security details, and people who are running for president also get big security details. So there is no excuse here for Secret Service to not have that shit on lock. You know what I mean?
We're talking about before, how is it possible that there was such a massive security breach at an event featuring the former president?
MJ Lee, thank you for that summary of those remarks there from the president. Mark Preston is here with me. And Mark, in addition to the news that he made about the independent investigation that he wants conducted, and also the review of the security measures of where we're sitting right now, which, as you know, are very extensive, the president also just spoke to the current political climate and was talking about we must not lose sight of unity being the most important overall. What stood out to you?
Unity is an elusive goal, and he hit the nail on the head. The fact of the matter is, we are very much a divided nation at this point, and I only think that this has heightened it. I mean, we're going to see both political sides that are going to, dig in for their reasons.
Defending DC is way different, easier job than defending a farm and field. Okay, I'm sorry, but you guys are insane. DC is just one example. Presidents go and do public speeches in areas where there are literally buildings, okay? A building, just one singular building, implies that there are more places that a sniper could shoot the president from than a barn. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. That is insane. He's out in an open field. There's only one other there. Dude, we looked at the aerial footage. There was literally only one other place there that was a rooftop with direct line of sight to the president. Do you know how much more difficult it is to secure an entire area with buildings? A building with 100 windows means 100 opportunities for a sniper to hide themselves. Okay.
And there's going to be a little bit of a clash. You know, the concern I have, Caitlin, about security specifically is not necessarily what happens in here. I mean, I think everything in here is going to be fine. There is so much protection here. I wonder what's going to happen out in the city. I wonder if there's going to be a lot of MAGA protesters, supporters who come to the city just to be here, just to be part of this this historic occasion. At the same time, we know there's going to be a lot of anti-Trump protesters are going to be here in the city, and just seeing those two clash, I think, could be very ugly.
Yeah, which also speaks to the importance of hearing from people like President Biden and former President Trump, which we have heard from both of them. Trump last night in his statement talking about taking down the temperature and what this looks like going forward. And, you know, President Biden said, we'll debate, we'll disagree, he said that's not going to change. He said, but we're not going to lose sight of the fact of who we are as Americans. I mean,
important, right? You know, the whole idea is, and obviously today has got to be a day spent on focusing on what happened yesterday to try to understand it as we make the turn into Monday. But for the Republican Party, for the nation, let's let them have their convention. Let's let Joe Biden be.
They're going to eat this guy alive, by the way. This is a Republican representing California 54th District. I don't know about the rest of my colleagues, but I'm starting to think those AR-15 lapel pins might not have been such a great idea. Yeah, I mean, he's right. But, you know, he's from California. You know what I mean? How much you want to bet the local PD department was supposed to cover that spot and messed up? Likely, but also that's still up to the Secret Service to make sure. That's still up to the Secret Service to make sure that there's no holes in their entire. This is a fake account. What's a fake account? Oh, it is a fake account. Or is it? Oh, it is. Yeah, it's okay. Well, I got fake account. It's parody. Co-sponsor Poe Law. Why does it lie? Elon Musk, thank you so much. Elon Musk, thank you so much for making sure that everyone can get a verification. That's very cool. Why would you leave a chance for critical spot to be under the responsibility of a rural police department? Yeah, ultimately, getting back to the point at hand. That's how shitty Twitter is. I know. That's besides the point. Let's get back to the real issue. The fact that Secret Service would leave it up to some country bumpkins to cover this perimeter is also insane. Okay? Is still insane. I'm glad that the Republicans are I'm glad that the Republicans are focusing on the most important thing, though, which is that there were women on the Secret Service detail. They're focusing on the important stuff, the stuff that really matters. How many women and minorities were a part of the Secret Service?